was once upon a time where Uber was basically sharing my money with me, because don't you know that somebody left one diary somewhere that I have not seen. I was spending like a mad woman using Uber as if they gave me shares in the business. Actually go and think, what are my goals, what am I trying to hit, and what do I need this money for? I don't say for a rainy day, God forbid. The only rain that is coming is rains and showers of abundance. Hey guys, welcome back to the Power Closet, a space for perspectives where conversation meets style. If you're new here, hi, my name is Tumi. I make videos on conversations and style, and then I also have a segment called Perspectives, which you'll find on the Power Closet. Which you'll find on the powercloset.com. Perspectives is basically a space where I share perspectives on all things from faith, healing, love, relationships, and more. So finally, guys, I can finally announce that Power Closet is now looking more complete. Because every time I used to say that hook, there was part of me that was like, they're not going to understand why you call it that. But now it makes sense. So perspectives, conversations, which we do here, style, which is, sorry, that's my reminder, style, which I'm sure you guys are quite familiar with. But anyway, without rambling too much, welcome. So today's video is quite unusual. I'm going to be doing a budgeting video, and no, this is not a finance platform, like absolutely not. And before I actually jump into it, I'm actually going to explain what brought about this video so that you guys can understand why I'm even doing it. So let's rewind to about October 2022. Why am I so dramatic? So rewind to sometime late last year. I was with a friend, and I think she moved jobs, and she was speaking to me about a pair of Chanel flats that she wanted to buy. And I was like, oh yeah, you can just like save up towards it, you know, like put some money away every single month, put it in a luxury fund, and then, you know, at the end of when you've reached the amount, you can then go and buy it and you won't feel so bad. And she goes, the what? Huh? Like the what fund? I was like, luxury fund. And then I had to like come back to time to remember that that's actually something that I say to myself and to another one of like my really good friends. So she was not like, what on earth is a luxury fund? And I was like, okay, it's fine. Like, you know what, when I get home, I'll send you like my budgeting tool that I use, and I'll share it with you, and I'll give you like an in-depth insight into how I actually save for the stuff that I buy. I know you guys probably think, you know, there's some Iroko tree in Ile-Ife that I go to and go and pluck from it, or my dad is Aliko Dangote the third sending me cash. Well, no, he's not yet. And I'm afraid there are no trees. Okay, so it's me, my Jesus, my shadow, and my sense budgeting and looking for ways to afford all the stuff that I have. There is no, Mr. Power Closet is not also sending me the check yet. So it's literally like how these things come to be is by planning, literally planning. So when she told me that thing about the Chanel flats, I was like, okay, yeah, let me just send you my tool and then just adjust, flex it a bit and send it to you. I give you really good instructions. And I did that. I sent it to her. She was reading it and she was like, you need to give this to someone else. Like, this is so amazing. And imposter syndrome, guys, imposter syndrome. So when she said that, I was like, who is going to buy this kind of thing? Like, no one cares about this kind of stuff. She's like, you really should offer this to Power Closet, because I'm sure people are wondering, but nobody has actually had the chance to ask you yet. I was like, okay, fine. Then maybe like 3 weeks later, my sister starts a new job, and she's like, oh, can you send me your budgeting tool? And then I send it to her. And then I think a couple of weeks after, her friend starts a new job, and her friend asked her for a tool, and she sent it to her. And I was talking to my sister a few weeks ago. She's like, oh, by the way, I have XYZ in my emergency fund. I'm like, you have what? And what did you just call it? She's like, yeah, you know, the things that you said in your tool. So I actually used them. So alarm bells came. Holy Spirit was like, babes, stop having imposter syndrome and get on with it. Make this thing for Power Closet and share it with the world. That sounds very dramatic. So that is how I ended up making this video. This is why I am doing this now. So I have spent maybe 3+ minutes explaining how this video came to be. Now we're actually going to talk about the tool itself. And I should also say, I'm selling this. So ta-da! Power Closet's first product. Woo, guys, can we please just get some claps, because this is 3 years in the making. Even I'm still waiting for you guys to subscribe, but 3 years in the making, we at least have our first product, so thank God. So if you do want to buy this tool, please go to the link below. you'd be able to check it out, you know, definitely buy it, and then you can follow along, and I could give you a bit more tips, tricks, etc., or commentary around like the actual tool itself. So the first things first is that this tool requires multiple accounts. And I say this because remember I said she wanted to save towards the Chanel flats, and she was trying to find like a good and sustainable way to do that. Okay, the way I typically save for things, so one thing that's very heavy on this channel is travel. Another thing that's very heavy on this channel is Lux. So I actually have separate accounts for those. And it's because after I've done after I've done expenses for the house, I've invested and all that shebang, the things that we actually need so that we don't go begging on the streets, I don't joke with my enjoyment money. So there's specific money in one specific account which I use, and I don't budget on it. Like maybe I could say, okay, X for my hair, X for my nails, X for all sorts of stuff, but I'm very like I don't joke with it. Whereas the other one, travel savings tool, is a percentage of my income every single month that goes towards travel, and it's again in another account. So first of all, you're going to need multiple accounts for this tool to work, so you can't just have one. And I actually think rule number one, you shouldn't spend from the same accounts that you get your salary into. I used to do this in like I can't remember, years ago, and then I met this like he was almost like my mentor. I met him and he was like, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard, because it just makes managing your money so chaotic. Well, at least for me, because I'm also like a bit of a neat freak, so just seeing incomings, it was like, what is this? So rule number one is your salary account is your salary account. There should be no expenses coming out of it. So you can't be having like, oh, the occasional hot dog, the occasional pretzel going out from where you get your salary, where you get your income. No, like it should just be for incomings. So that for me serves as the main one. That's where I do all my that's where I do all my major payments from. So then I have another major one called my expense account, which is where you get my direct debits, you get transportation, you get TFL, so public transportation, you get Ubers, anything random and like house related. Let's just call it the everyday expense account. That's like the second one. Now the third one is my enjoyment account. So because I love neobanks, and this is not sponsored in any shape or form, I actually use Monzo for that, because Monzo, which people don't know, is the coolest thing ever. So they let you have pots. So within one account, you can have like a pot for this, a pot for that, a pot for... So I have a pot called a luxury fund. Literally. To make matters even more interesting, I actually put the picture for the pot is a Birkin bag. It's my dream Birkin, which is the ombre lizard bag in 25. I've already tried it on and it looks beautiful, and I can't wait till I purchase it. But anyway, that is my dream Birkin, which is the cover of that pot, and that is where I put money into to save towards things that I want. Now, in theory, the goal of the luxury fund is for you to have money towards your wish list without feeling like you have to dip into your major savings. Even if you did, you won't feel so bad, because how much you would even take is considerably less than if you didn't have the luxury fund at all. I hope that makes sense. And then the fourth one is for emergencies. Yeah, you cannot be having Birkin bags and then you're living on the streets. Please don't do that. Don't do that. Emergencies for me are things like do you know something I hate? When I have to call my handyman, or I have to call like a plumber, or I have to call, and then I now have to be using the money that I have budgeted to go to have drinks at the Rosewood. I'll now come and use it to give to the plumber. Excuse me, no. Or the money that I'm using to go for my day trip to Paris will now be the plumber that'll come and take it. No. So I budget for that from the get-go. Even if it is £75 every single month, you'd be surprised what that £75 every single month becomes £750 in 10. So I think it's thinking with that kind of mindset. A little goes a very, very, very long way. So obviously, guys, I'm literally giving you a splitter because I think it would be quite chaotic for me to go through the Excel in like crazy amount of depth. If you do want it, please buy it below. So then we move on to the instructions, right? And the instructions basically take you through every single line item. So we start off with your income. How much are you getting in? Expenses, that's where you have things like groceries, you have things like house bills, lights and electricity, we have water. Anything that is house related would typically go in the expenses tab. Now after you do that, we then have transportation. You know, there was once upon a time where Uber was basically sharing my money with me, because don't you know that Somebody left one diary somewhere that I have not seen. I was spending like a mad woman using Uber as if they gave me shares in the business. They didn't give me any shares. So once I realized this, I was like, no, this has got to stop. I put a cap on it. Like, no, I do. The public transport works perfectly fine. So that was why I started budgeting my Uber stuff like crazy. So you can flex it from 50, 60, 70, 80. I mean, try and think out, if you go out every single weekend, then you might probably want to Uber back home. So try and think about it from that lens. Think about it from like weekends. I don't really use Ubers on a weekly basis unless that's actually a lie. I do. I feel like, to be honest, I do. Anyway, try and budget it and flex it to your taste. And then as you go down, we then see like interesting line items. So another thing that this tool has is it lets you save towards holidays. And I told you I have a holiday fund. So you're wondering what, but you said 4 accounts. So within one of the accounts, you can have multiple. So just like I said, Monzo allows me to have pots. There's one that allows you to have multiple. And then every single month, I save a percentage of this towards travel. This allows you visualize and just plan. So you can plan towards your holiday and be at peace. Not that you are planning with no buck to back it up. So that is pretty much what I do. Another thing that I think is also quite peculiar is a friendship fund. Look, I'm a single lady, and by God's grace soon I'll have my own family with like my babies running around and Mr. Parker or wherever it says he is, since he wants to waste his time. I'm just joking. You know I always have to take the piss. Anyway, so eventually we're going to have our own families, or maybe you already have your own family. I think if you're single, it's a good habit for you to start thinking about your money as not just your own. So I tithe. I'm Christian, so I tithe, and if you give money or you tithe, there's also a line for that. But beyond that, something that really used to irk my soul was when someone would send me a message being like, hey, I'm trying to buy a birthday gift for blah blah blah. There was a season, I think it was like when we were all turning 21, I kid you not, every other month somebody was messaging me telling me to send money towards somebody's 21st birthday, and it drove me insane. Like, it was so annoying, not because I didn't want to contribute, but it's because I told you, when I budgeted money for myself, I don't like people touching it. So I had to create like a line within my tool that every single month, come rain, come sunshine, there was money going towards other people. So when someone approached me saying, hey, we need to contribute money towards someone's birthday present, I'll take it from this. When I wanted to buy something for my mom and my sister asked me, I took money from this. When I want to give my friend something, I take money from this. It's called my friendship fund. So it's a percentage of my income that goes towards that. So it's literally been a game changer, literally a game changer. So there are so many secrets that I give in this tool that I'm actually giving here that I feel like I've given this to like my best friends, the people that are really close to me, my sister, and then other people who have like basically asked me how I kind of structure everything. And then we go more into like summaries and like balances, which allows you to track the balances across the different accounts. Now, another thing I want to also say, disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor, right? No. This is just my personal tool that I've been using for years to get by and do life. The second most important rule is please invest. Please invest. Do not be saving towards the Birkin and have $0 in savings. Please don't. At least please don't. I'm begging you, don't. Personal favorites. They're not sponsoring me. This is not financial advice. Personal favorites, and something that has worked really well for me is Vanguard investments. Vanguard there have been some times that it's been so killer. Actually, I'll share a funny story. A friend of mine, he opened his own Vanguard and told me the returns he had made, and I almost fell off my chair because I was like, how did you make so much money on this thing? And I made him open his own. I'm like, oh yeah, start telling me all the funds that you invested in. Even though I don't know why it worked, I feel like the funds he chose were so good for him, but I'm not sure. I don't know if I actually ended up choosing, I don't think I ended up choosing his funds, but what it made me do that day was I went through Vanguard and I was going through almost every single fund, checking the past performance, checking what they actually invest in, and I was moving my money into the ones that were most likely to make me the most money. So if you do just decide to sign up to Vanguard, please do your own research. Don't just choose the life strategy fund or the blended. Like, actually go and think, what are my goals, what am I trying to hit, and what do I need this money for? And I think that's pretty much it. Obviously, the tool has a lot more. The instructions are super comprehensive. Like, it's literally, I go into a crazy amount of detail that I'm not going to go into here. But have a look. Send us a message if you have any more questions or thoughts. I think it's a fantastic tool. And the third thing I would say is, you know how I think we in society in general, like people put so much pressure on themselves. I understand cost of living is going up, everything is getting really expensive, but I feel like this tool will be a very good thing for you to know how to live life, enjoy life, and at the same time save, invest, and prepare for the future. I don't say save for a rainy day, God forbid. The only rain that is coming is rains and showers of abundance. No, it's not anything of catastrophe. That's it, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you find the tool very useful. If you do buy it, please do. I put a lot of work into this for you guys. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Bye guys.